Hey, what's up? It's JJ, the Lonely Bull in Asia, here in my condo on a Sunday morning, uh, having my coffee, and glad you can come and join us today. We're going to talk about. I did a budget video about a week or so ago, and we're going to do a deep dive into that and talk a little bit more about budget and what's comfortable living here in Bangkok or Thailand as compared to maybe Bonifacio Global City, BGC, in the Philippines, or anywhere else for that matter, where you're at too. So glad you can join us. Let me know um, if I'm coming in okay. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm always interested in that. And we'll get started here in a little bit. We'll wait a couple more minutes for more people to jump on, but looks like people are jumping on already. So glad you could join me. I don't know what time it is where you're at, but it's 9 o'clock, 9:05 or 9:03 actually, here on a Sunday morning here in Bangkok. So I'm here in my home studio. You can see my TV screen. I'm gonna have to set up this studio a little differently. So we got the that's my home page on my big screen TV. So I thought that'd be kind of a cool background. And then you got the Buddha, and then Ireland flag, and then that's about it. That's all for my background. So when my lease is up in October, I'm going to look for something bigger, and that way I've got a place. I got a dedicated spot for a studio instead of sitting on my dining room table here in my living room. So anyway, let's check out what we got so far. Mark Cohen from Kansas. Where in Kansas are you, Mark? I used to live in Manhattan, Kansas. I used to work back in the day when I was in radio. I worked for a couple of radio stations in Manhattan and Junction City. So I lived there. Let's see, I moved there in '93, and I was there until the end of '99, so almost 7 years in Kansas. And being a Nebraska fan, it was tough being in radio. We were the flagship station in Manhattan for Kansas State sports, so we did all the football games, and so we always did the pregame tailgate outside the stadium. And so I had to pretend I was a huge Wildcat fan. And then when Nebraska come to play, I would, as soon as the broadcast was over, I'd go change into my red and go into the stadium. But I don't know where you're from in Kansas, but let me know. I've been all over Kansas, Topeka. I almost took a job in Topeka. Been to Salina, been down to Wichita. Every time I think of Wichita, I think of um, Jack Jack White. I'm going to Wichita. I don't know if you know that song, but anyway, that's kind of getting down a little rabbit hole in my music. Um, let's see where else. Ormond Beach, Florida. Okay, George, thanks for watching. Not sure where Ormond Beach is. I've been to Orlando. That's about the only place in Florida I've been. Went down there in 2020, July, I think, of 2020. Maybe it was earlier than that. Maybe it was March. Um, but I went down there for just to go golf for a weekend. So, okay, Mark, you're about a hour south of Salina. Okay, all right, cool. On the way to Wichita. Anyway, so let me see. We got a pretty good number on. So we're going to talk about my budget today, and then anything else that might come up that you have questions on or comments on. I love making it interactive with the chat, so feel free to join in anytime you want. So um, when we talked about my budget in the video I did a week or so ago, let me share my screen with you guys. And let's see. Let me see which one I'm on here. Hang on just a second. There we go. Let's do this one. All right. I don't know if you can see that very well. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Whoa. Okay. If you're watching from a TV, you can probably see that pretty well, or even a laptop. If you're on your phone, you might not see it well. So I'll go through line by line. So my rent here is, and I've got this all in US dollars, so I can tell you what it is in baht. I can't probably convert it into anything other than US dollars. If you're in another country or you're watching, then you're going to have to do your own conversion. But these conversion numbers are as of when I made the video. So obviously, as you know, the exchange rate changes on a daily basis. I'm going to turn this AC up. Sorry about that. So these will change. So my rent is 12,500 baht a month. And that comes to around $370. So I've got a small, I gotta be careful what I'm saying here. I was going to say I've got a small unit, but that's what she said. I've got a small condo that's about 35 square meters. So, but it's efficient for me. And I wanted the reason I got a small one because I wanted to, I was actually living in two places at once. I had a place, an apartment in Da Nang, Vietnam, that I was paying rent on too. So I wanted to kind of split the difference and not pay too much more than what I was paying when I was in BGC, which is about $620 a month. So my rent here was $370. My rent in Da Nang was about $270. So that came to about $640. So it was pretty close. The nice thing about this rent here is I've got free Wi-Fi and it's high speed. It's like 500 megabytes per second upload and download. So it's efficient for what I need for my streaming and for my work here on my YouTube channel and for watching TV and that. So 370 is about what it averages. My utilities, now my utility bill for this past month was, I didn't expect it to be this low. I do run my AC probably about 3 or 4 hours a day. I run my bedroom AC all night. I run it at about 25 C temperature, and I run that all night. But my AC here is I'll run it off and on. Usually I just use the fan, and the fan you'll save a lot of electricity if you're just using the fan and these inverters. But these are both brand new inverter air cons, and so it's going to be more efficient. And so my utility bill with the water, and the water is nothing. The water is like a couple bucks a month. So my utility bill came to about 989 baht. So that came out to about $30, a little less than $30, but I just rounded up because it'll probably vary. It'll be more some months and maybe less some months. So about $30. That I thought was really good because I was paying close to 100 a month when I was in BGC. Of course, my condo was bigger, so that probably had a lot to do with it, or a little bit to do with it. But I think the unit pricing in the Philippines is higher than it is here in Thailand. So I think overall you're going to be saving money. But it just depends on how cool, how comfortable you like it here in your condo, how often you use your AC. If there's any other things, if you have an air fryer, there's that. I think that uses quite a bit of electricity. It seems like from what other people are telling me. I don't use the stove. I use the microwave right now. So I'm not going to do any cooking here in my place until I move and get a bigger place. And then once I get moved in and get settled in permanent, then I'll buy more things, or if there's things there that I can cook with, I'll start buying more groceries and actually doing cooking in my home. So anyway, so you got that. Cleaning and linen. So once a month, I I pay to have my place cleaned thoroughly and all the linens and the towels changed out. Now I do laundry. I've got a washing machine, so I do laundry, and so I wash my towels and things like that. So, but once a month I'll have them change my sheets and my bedding and all that, and the towels and new set of towels and everything. So with the cleaning and the linen changes, that comes to 900 baht a month. And so that's about $27. So that's pretty decent for a full cleaning and the linen change, I think. So anyway, so I pay for that on a monthly basis. My insurance, I have travel insurance through Seven Corners. Now, a lot of people use um, Safety Wing. I use Seven Corners. It just works for me. I don't specify any one particular um, company to use. They don't sponsor me, and I don't subscribe to any. I don't want to put in any recommendations. So I just tell you what I use, and it comes to about $72 a month. And basically, right now I've got travel insurance that covers any major medical issues. Also, if I have to be rushed back to the U.S., it covers that, and it's a pretty significant amount. So that's $72 a month. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to the chat here. Let's get caught up. Rick, hi from Kansas City, born and raised west of Wichita and Kingman area, but live in Houston. Retired and avid traveler to the Far East. Very good. Thanks for coming on, Rick, and thanks for checking in. And I know Edwin will probably check in a little later. He's a KCMO guy too. I am not on a retirement visa right now, and so we'll get to that. I'll talk a little bit about what my plans are, but right now I'm just on a tourist visa because I wasn't sure when I moved here in Bangkok in October of last year. I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay here or not. I thought I did, but I wanted to make sure before I did any sort of permanent thing, like a visa, any sort of permanent visa. I want to make sure that this is where I want to be for an extended period of time. So right now I'm on a tourist visa. So I got in May 4th. And so I got my 60-day visa free. And then this week I'll extend another 30 days. That'll get me through till August, 1st of August. And then at the end of July, I'm actually heading to Cambodia for a week or two. And then I'll either come back here and start my 60-day visa free over again, or I may go to back to Da Nang, Vietnam and visit there for a while. I haven't decided yet what my plans are, but I will tell you, when I get back, I've been looking into an education visa, and I've been looking at the cost, and I thought that if you were over 50, which I am, you couldn't get an education visa in Thailand. But every school I've contacted, they've told me that's not an issue. So I've been writing down costs, and there's one school where I can if I do a 1 year, basically it's 14 months, it'll cost me 33,000 baht. That's about $979 or so, depending on the exchange rate. And then you got to pay for the visa, which is an additional cost. So that's my thinking right now. I'll do a education visa and learn the Thai language, because I want to learn the Thai language anyway. So might as well do it on a visa. So I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone. And so I've got that. That's 14 months. But then I'm thinking, okay, so that covers 3 levels of education. So what if I get in and I absolutely suck? If I just can't learn the Thai language. And the problem with, if you don't learn it, when you go in to renew your visa, and I can't remember if it's every 90 days or 180 days. I can't remember exactly with the education visa how often you have to go back in and renew, but they'll start to talk to you in Thai, And if you can't comprehend or you can't speak with them simple, they're probably not going to renew. So I'm thinking that 14 months, I don't want to spend that 14 months and I get in 3 months into level one, which is basic, and I just can't get it. So I think I'll do the 3 month, which is 11,000. Now, in the long run, it's going to cost me a little more because there's break points on the longer you do the education. So I'll do the 3 month for 11,000. That's about $326, not including the visa cost. So I think I'll do that. That'll give me 3 months here. I don't have to worry about extending or anything like that. I can get into the classes. I can start learning Thai. And if I'm doing well, if I like it, then I'll go to the next level, which is a 4 month, which is about, what is it, 14,000 baht. Yeah, I got to get my glasses on to read this. Sorry. I'm sorry. 12,000 baht. 12,000 baht or $356. So I can do another 4 months after the three. And then level three, which is more advanced, that's a 6 month program, and that's 15,000 baht or $445. So my total cost for 13 months is 38,000 baht. So that's about $1,100, a little over $1,100. So, and then at that point, or at any point in there, if I'm really enjoying it being here and I want to make this permanent, then I'll go into the retirement visa. I'll look into that more seriously. So that's kind of my plan right now, subject to change. So, hope that answers your question, Mark. All right, Kiki and Jasmine, hello. Thanks for coming on. Since you are in Thailand, I have a question. What is the situation in Thailand with COVID infections? I'm hearing very worrying news over the last few days. Okay, so yes, so I just read an article, and I think I'm going to do a video on this. I read an article the other day, 53,000 new cases of COVID, and the whole thing is here's the situation. So from what I understand, from what I'm reading, it's the strain that was the last strain that happened before they took off all the sanctions in the world. So it's a more contagious strain, but it's a weaker strain. So the article I read, they said, yeah, there's been 53,000 new cases, but they've been really mild, and most people don't even realize they have it. That's how mild it is. So my thinking is, and I could be completely off base, but this is just my thought. If it's so mild that you don't even notice it, big deal. I've gotten COVID twice since I've been here in the Philippines, or I'm in Southeast Asia, both times in the Philippines. The first time, well, I caught once in the U.S. and so I caught that. I was down. This was in 2020. I was down in Nashville. I went to Nashville. I'm at Tootsie's watching some good live music, and I'm leaning against the bar, and there's this young couple standing by me, and this kid turns. Well, he's probably 22, but he's a kid. Turns to me and he starts talking, and he's spitting on me while he's talking really loud because he's trying to talk over the music. And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, great! I'll probably catch COVID." This was in July of 2020 or something like that. I think it was the same trip when I went to Orlando. I stopped in Nashville first for a night or a couple nights, and I drove through Atlanta, which was that was a pain in the ass. Atlanta traffic is horrible. It's worse than Manila and Thailand, I think. Anyway, and then I drove to Orlando. Well, I was only in Orlando 3 days, like a 3-day weekend for golf. By the time I got back to Indiana, where I was living in Indianapolis, I got sick and I got COVID. So that first COVID was pretty bad. It was like a major flu type feeling. I just had chills, aches, fever, the typical stuff. When I was in the Philippines, I caught it twice. One was similar to that, only not quite as harsh. And then the second time I caught it, it was like a day. I felt kind of out of it, kind of tired, and a little out of it, small fever, and then it went away. So if this is the case, if it's light and you don't even notice it, my feeling is, big deal. I don't think there's a big issue with that, but you never know. I mean, I just hope we don't lock down again. That would not be fun. So anyway, that's what I feel about it. So, um, isn't there a limit to how long you can be covered by traveler's insurance? Up to 70 years old in most cases. So you can keep getting traveler's insurance. You can keep getting it over. You can get it for as long as you want. Um, I'm doing it on a month-to-month basis. So that way, if I want to change companies, I can do that. But most travel insurance covers you up to age 70. So when I hit that 70, um, I'll get something more permanent, and I got a couple of years to go before I hit that. So, Kukalti, for me, minus YouTube, minus storage, minus investing, minus insurance, self-insured. So I would be around 1,000. Nice. So I'll talk a little bit about the entertainment and the food and that kind of cost in a bit. Let me get caught up with the chat, and then we can go back into the budget. How did you find such a good deal on a short-term rental? My rental is actually a year here. I got a 1-year lease. Now, if I'd done I think they did. I don't think they did 3-month here in this building. You can find those, but they do a 6-month, and I think I got a little bit of a break. I think it was maybe 14 or 15. I think it was 15,000 baht for a 6-month, and so I got the year, and I got 12,500 was my cost. So now you can get short-term rentals in Da Nang. In Vietnam. I did a 3-month when I was there, and that cost me 7 million dong. So if you want to do a quick conversion in Vietnam, just times 7 by 4, and add a 0. So 7 times 4 is 28, and add a 0 is 280. So it's about $280 is what I spent, a little less than $280 a month for my rent in Vietnam. Here in Bangkok or in Thailand, just do the same thing, only times by 3. So 12,500 would be 25, 37.5. So $375. So a little less than that. So 370. And then if you're in the Philippines, do it times it by 2 basically. So if you're paying 20,000 peso for rent, times that by 2. So times 20 times 2 is 40. Add a 0, that's 400. So it's a little less than 400 a month, depending on the exchange rate now. So I hope that answers your question. But there are short-term rentals. You're going to pay a little more. I knew Edwin would come on. Hi, Edwin from KCMO. Thanks for joining this morning. I have checked into the DTV visa, and the problem with that is I'm retired, so I think you have to have a minimum income, not a retirement income, but a minimum income to be eligible for the DTV. But that's something I'll look more into when I get closer to really looking at a retirement visa, Mark. So, hey, Ice Vanilla Latte, thanks for coming. Are you back in the Philippines? I know you came on last week, but I'm not sure, because you have two YouTube channels that you chat on, right? So is this who am I talking with? the husband or the fiance? That's what I want to know. So, but you're in the Philippines, so hello, welcome. Thanks for clearing that up. Hey, no problem. Rent is dependent how far out you live along the BTS line, which runs along Sukhumvit Road. Let's see where he lives. If you want to stay in the Asok area, most popular, rent would be at least 2 times. Yep, you're absolutely right. So, well, you're yes and no. So yeah, I live south. I live in the south end of Bangkok in the Samut Prakan district. So I'm in. So if you're, and I did this last week, but I got comments that the map was so small you couldn't see it. So I'll just kind of explain it. So Sukhumvit Road is one of the main roads that runs basically north to south in Bangkok. I mean, it kind of winds around, so it doesn't actually go directly north and south, but it starts in the north and ends up in the south. I'm at the Samrong exit. So you got Samrong as you go north. There's Samrong, then there's Bering, then there's I can't think of them right now. But anyway, you go up. You're about 10 stops to Prompong and 11 stops to Asok, which is what Rick was talking about. So it's about a 30-minute train ride. So yes, so my rent is cheaper. Now I'm looking at moving somewhere closer to that central area, which is Asok area. Prompong is a possibility. I don't really want to live in Asok. That's just a little too busy for me. Prompong and south of that. So Prompong, Tonglo, Ekamai, Anut, Prakanong, those stops there, anywhere around there. You can find some pretty decent deals. I'm looking for something a little bigger than 35 square meters. I want at least 40, maybe 45, maybe 50. And yes, I'm going to pay more. But since I'm not renting another place in Vietnam anymore, I've got that money freed up. So I can spend double. I can spend, instead of 12,500, I can spend 25,000 baht, which is about 700, a little over 700, between 700 and $750. So I've got that money available to do that. So come October, I'll probably look into something a little more expensive, maybe even a 2-bedroom if I can find something like that. So, but yes, you're right, Rick. The closer you get to the center, the more expensive. I'm even going to look up north of Nana, which is the kind of the adult area on Sukhumvit. North of there, you've got Chitlom and Plon Chit. Those 2 stops are really nice. That's a really nice area, but it's a lot more expensive. But sometimes you can find some deals if you're off the line a little bit, off the BTS. And I'm willing to walk 10 or 15 minutes. I don't mind. And then if it's, if the weather's bad, I can take a bike or a grab or something if I need to. But 10 or 15-minute walk to me is nothing, because that's what I did when I was in BTS or in BGC. I was walking 10, 15 minutes to get somewhere every day anyway. So that's not a big deal for me. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. So if I can find something that's 10 to 15 minutes off the line and I can save $100 a month, I'm going for it. But if I can find something that's close and get into my price range of, $650 to $750 a month, that's fantastic. Then that's still saving. When I was in Tulsa, the last place I lived before I moved out here to Asia, I was paying $1,450 a month for a small townhouse. It was a 2-bedroom. It was nice, but $1,450 a month, and paying half of that for a nice condo in Bangkok, I'll do that. I'll do that in a New York minute. I don't have any problems doing that. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Let's see, JJ, that's concerning, but I wouldn't get any vaccine. Thanks to God, I never caught COVID. Good for you. If I wouldn't have got, and not to get political or science involved or anything, but I would not have gotten the vaccine if I didn't have to get it to move here. That was one of the stipulations when they first opened up. When I moved to Manila, the Philippines, this was in 2022, in March of 2022. they opened up, and I think February 22nd, 2022, the Philippines opened up. And the one stipulation was you had to get a vaccine. You had to have a vaccine and a booster. So I did that before I moved, and I came here, and in March 2022, because I knew that was going to be the case. So I think I got my vaccines in 2021, at the end of 2021. I still have my card in my wallet. um, but I've got that at the end of 2021 because I knew from everything I read and everything I heard that when the Philippines did open, because they've been talking about it, they were going to require a shot. So I got that early, and then I got my booster at the beginning of 2022. And so when they opened up, I had everything ready to go, and I booked my flight and everything like that. So, but if I hadn't had to do that, I probably would never have gotten the shot. So, and who knows what would have happened. So, all right, it's Irene. Okay, that's what I thought. When's hubby coming? When's the fiance coming back? When are you going to see him again? Let's see. Thai sounds very difficult to learn. I'm learning Tagalog. I tried to learn the Basque language many years ago, an extremely difficult language to master. I don't know where Basque is from. Tagalog, I just know a few things. You know, when I lived in BGC, you got lazy because almost everybody spoke, English well enough where you didn't need to use the Tagalog language or any other language other than English. But then you run into those problems when you get out of Metro Manila and you're in the provinces. Then you're wishing, I wish I knew a little more Tagalog or a little more Bisaya. Let's see. Admiral Crunch, thanks for dropping in. I think I recall reading insurance companies won't let you start a plan if you're 70 plus, but for an existing customer, they'll grandfather you in. So best to start long-term policy before 70. Yeah, that's my plan. I'll look into something permanent before I hit 70. Edwin, if you order food from a delivery service restaurant, how reliable is that? Reliable as in the quality of food or the timeliness of delivery or delivery at all. I don't really use the Grab. So Grab is like, if you're not familiar with Asia, Grab and Bolt, that's like the Uber of Asia. So you've got Grab and Bolt in Thailand, and you can do rides on that. You can do food delivery. So I've only ordered Grab delivery, food delivery a couple of times here and in the Philippines. And I've never had any issues with it. It's always come. No, there's only one issue I had with it one time. We ordered, this was in BGC in the Philippines. I ordered food. It was my girlfriend and I, and we just decided instead of going somewhere, we were just going to order Grab and have it delivered. And I think we got something cheap. I don't even know what it was. Maybe McDonald's. Anyway, we ordered food and drink. And when the Grab driver got there, the drink cup had come undone and all the drink had spilled out. So one of our drinks was empty. That was the only issue I ever had with it. And I didn't say anything because I think it was tea, and it's sweet tea, and it's not that great in the Philippines. But I think it came with the order. It was like the combo. So it wasn't like I spent extra. I did spend a little extra, but it wasn't like I spent a lot extra for the drink. So it wasn't a big deal. It's like, it's okay. So I let my girlfriend have the drink that was still okay. And, that was the only issue I had. And I didn't complain or anything like that because, it happens. They're on a bike and they're going through traffic. You never know, and if the restaurant doesn't put the tape down on the lid right, it's going to come off. So that's just what happened. Is it worth buying a scooter over there? I personally, I'm not going to buy a scooter living in Bangkok. It's just easier to get around, and it's dangerous. That's one of the Thailand is one of the most dangerous countries as far as accidents on the roadways, and most of them are scooters or bikes. So, me being a foreigner and not familiar with one, I haven't ridden a bike since I was in high school. And two, everybody drives on the other side of the road here. So it would be really confusing for me to kind of remember to be on the left side of the road instead of the right side of the road. Plus, the traffic here in Bangkok is nuts. So, just my personal feeling is I'm just not going to get a bike here. Now, if I were to live in a smaller area like maybe Chiang Mai or Hua Hin or Pattaya or some smaller town, I would probably do that. I'll probably, when I go to Hua Hin um, next week or this week actually, and when I go to Chiang Mai in a couple weeks, I may look into renting a bike just to get around. But here in Bangkok, I just rely on the public transportation. It's a lot easier. That was the reason I got the vaccines too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So August is coming to, he's coming to the Philippines. Hope we can meet you again. Yeah, I mean, who knows? I'm one of those guys that like to change my plans on a whim. So you never know in August where I'll be. So I may be back in the Philippines. Gary, Solomon, Kansas, right here, close to Salina. All right, we got a lot of Kansas people watching today. That's awesome. Basque is a province in northern Spain. Bilbao, San Sebastian. Okay, all right. Never been to Spain. 111. During my trips to Cebu, I never used Grab for food delivery. Food Panda was used a few times. Never an issue, and the food was good. Yeah, Food Panda is another one. Although they're closing down. Food Panda is closing down in the Philippines. I read that a few weeks ago. I think Grab just kind of pushed them out of business. So that's too bad, but that's the reality. Did you find your condo online? I'm thinking about moving out to Thailand. Yes, I did. So I think I used DD Properties, and I used that. It was either DD Property or Rent Hub, or it might have been Dot Properties. Probably one of those three. Now you can look into Facebook Marketplace, but you got to be really careful about those because they do a lot of bait and switch. They'll show a really nice condo, and when you ask about it, when you inquire about it, they'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry, it just got rented out, but we have this condo for the same price, and it's not decorated, it's not furnished nicely." So you just have to be careful when you're on Facebook Marketplace or anywhere for that matter. So grab here. Let me remove this budget for now, and we'll get back to it. Grab will charge you more because you are a foreigner. On both occasions with two different Filipinas, we both pulled out our phones, and for the exact same Grab ride, I was quoting more than her. Really? That's odd. I don't know. That's odd. I've never heard about that. So anyway, it's not that much anyway. So I mean, but that's interesting. I'll have to do a little experiment next time in the Philippines. So yeah, RIP Food Panda, right? 22,000 people die every year in a motorcycle and scooter accident. I Googled the tragic fact. Yeah, it's if it's not the highest in the world, it's right up there. It's one of the highest. So yeah, you just got to be careful. How do you deal with the language barrier over the long term? Does it get to you mentally? No, not really. When you're in Bangkok, especially in the areas that are more heavily touristy, you got more foreigners, more expats. Most of the staff that you deal with in restaurants, bars, malls, retail places, most of them speak English pretty well. Um, so you really don't have that problem. It's only when you get out into smaller communities or out in Bangkok, out in the outer skirts of Bangkok, where you don't have a lot of expats or don't lot of not a lot of foreigners that are in that area. Then you might run into some problems. You will run into, like where I'm at. There's not a lot of expats that hang out here. Now there are a few that live in my building, but they don't hang out in the local area here like I do. So like I'll go across the street to there's a little restaurant across or down the street from where I live, right outside of the Big C grocery store. If I go across the street, there's a couple of restaurants that I'll frequent, and then there's these vendors, these street food vendors that are right outside my condo. So I'll get food there. They don't speak a lot of English, so you just kind of have to, I'll use my phone and I'll use the app so I can do a translate on the menu so I can see what it is. Or if I can't do that, if I can look at the picture, I'll just kind of point at the picture, or I'll get by that way, and it's not that big a deal. But that's one of the reasons why I want to take Thai language, so I can assimilate a little easier into the communities and enjoy what Thailand has to offer. It's not much, but a scam is a scam. Yeah, yeah, that's true. We tried a few times, and it happened every time. They know in the app that you are from the U.S. Did you try using your? Do you have a? Let's see. Do you have a Philippine phone, like a SIM card? And have you tried to download the app onto that and try using that rather than your US number? See if that makes a difference. I don't know, but you can check and find out. All right, let's go back to the. Looks like I'm all caught up on the chat for now. Let's check back with the budget here. So I've got a T-Mobile phone, so there's a couple of things I still have, a couple of expenses I still have in the US, and one of them is my T-Mobile phone. So I've got two phones. I've got this phone that's my T-Mobile, and then I've got another phone that's got my Thailand SIM card that I'll use. But the T-Mobile international plan is great. It's $55 a month, and they just take it out automatically out of my bank, and so I don't even have to worry about it. And the data is pretty good. I generally don't have any issues with using the data when I'm out and about. Everything works pretty well. There are some slow or dead spots in some areas, like in smaller towns or smaller provinces, where the data is not as good. But then I can use my Thailand phone. But other than that, it's great. I get unlimited data and texting. I have to pay 25 cents a minute for phone calls, but I don't really do much for phone calls. So that's really not an issue. And then I have storage. I've got a small storage unit in Tulsa that's got a few of my things that I need to get back to the US one of these days and get rid of all that. And then my car is in storage. And so that's $93 a month I pay for that. And my plan is I'm going to sell my car, hopefully by the end of this year, get it sold. That way I don't have to worry about that anymore. Let's see, credit card. So I use my credit card, so I'm making the trip to Hua Hin next week or this week, and then I'm going up to Chiang Mai. I'm flying to Chiang Mai, so I use my credit card to book my flight. I use my credit card to book my hotels or my Airbnbs or whatever in Hua Hin and Chiang Mai. So all my trips, all my travel, I use my credit card to do the booking. And then every month I'll just pay that off, so like whatever I paid for my travel expenses for the month of June, when that comes through, I'll pay it in July when it's due. So And an average is probably about 200 a month. Some days or some months it's hardly anything because I don't do a lot of traveling. Some months a little more. So, but that's an average. So 200 a month is what I pay on my credit card. My Thai phone, my SIM card, that's $13 a month is what I pay. Um, Investments. Some guy asked me, "Why are you investing when you're so old?" It's not so much investing. It's more of a, I mean, I don't do the daring stuff. I'm not into the Bitcoins. I'm not into the real extreme. But basically, like, just something small that's going to give me a little bit of a return, other than a savings account. So I'll invest a little bit a month. That's usually around 150. The cash is every month I get cash out. So I'll get cash out of my bank, and it's about 10,000 baht, so it's around $300. And I'll use that 10,000 baht for miscellaneous things. So if I want to jump into 7-Eleven and pick up some quick food to heat up and eat, I'll use that. Or if I want to jump into 7-Eleven and get a beer or something like that on the way home, that's what that cash is for. Street food, if I go to a street vendor, I'll use the cash. So anything that's not a high dollar cost, I'll use that cash. So that 10,000 usually gets me through for the whole month. It's usually not an issue. Now there might be months where if I'm on that vacation mode, like next month where I'm in Hua Hin or I'm up in Chiang Mai, those that might not last me that whole month. I may have to get some more cash out. But generally speaking, like right now, I think I've got about, I think it's 700 baht left out of that 10,000. And here it is, June 1st here in Thailand. So I made it. I got through the month with just using that 10,000. So those are basic things. Haircut, if I want to go get a haircut, I use that. Also, I've got a Rabbit card, which is the BTS transit card. So I put money on that. I put 1,000 baht on that, and that comes out of that cash because you got to pay cash when you're at the station when you're putting money on your Rabbit card. So 1,000 baht is about $30. So I'll do that, and that usually gets me about $30 to $60. I would say 2 times. So of that 10,000 baht, maybe 1,000 or maybe up to 2,000 on average is for my Rabbit card. It just depends how much I travel, how much I want to go down to Prompong or Asok or wherever. So all that money comes out of there. And then also, when I do my extension, that money will come out of there because you have to pay cash. So with my extension next month, that 10,000, I may have to get a little more. That may be a little higher than 300, maybe closer to 400, because I'll be traveling. I'll be in Hua Hin and Chiang Mai. Plus, I'll have to pay for the extension, which is 1,900 baht. So that's another, $60, almost $55. So there's a little more cost involved for next month. So that'll be up a little, but most of the time it's right around 300, and it gets me through. The entertainment is, so that money comes out, I pay with my card, my bank card. So basically what it comes down to is what I pay, which is larger dollar items, what I pay with that I don't pay with my cash that I've got on hand. So those items include groceries, going out to eat, or having some drinks, like more than one drink with friends. So that 135, I actually adjusted that because I went out last night, and that counts. That counts as May because it was still May. So I went out last night. I had a nice dinner at O'Shea's and had 3 pints of beer. So, but the O'Shea's dinner was nice. The weekend dinner at O'Shea's, it's an Irish pub down in Prom Pong. I got a big, and you can get any kind of meat, but I got the beef. So I got roast beef dinner. So you get like 5 slices of roast beef. You get potatoes, gravy, mixed veggies, a roll, and a free pint of beer. So I'd already ordered my second pint. So I was on my second pint of beer, and I was planning on I'm just going to be done with that. But then I was kind of hungry. So it's like, I think I'll have the dinner. So I had the roast beef dinner, and then you get the free pint. So I got a free pint. So that whole thing cost me $18 US. So I got this huge roast beef dinner and 3 pints of Tiger beer for $18. So, and that's, to me, that's a high expense for me. That's middle to high range for me. I'm normally not a big spender, so that's kind of a high range for me. $18 for that in the U.S. There's no way you can do that. So anyway, my going out to eat, getting groceries, like larger amounts of groceries. I use my my Grab Pay is on my card, so it comes out automatically. Anytime I use my card, so it came to with that additional $18. So I'll add that to the 135. So it's about $153. So my total now is about $1,575. So I'm in my range. So that's my entertainment. And then those are my YouTube expenses. Everything on YouTube everything I buy or pay for through YouTube to help my channel. So like this StreamYard, there's a cost involved with that. I do my editing with CapCut. That's a monthly cost. I use Canva to create my thumbnails and my intros and outros. That's a monthly cost. I put YouTube Premium on there. And then I also put Amazon Prime on there too, because Amazon Prime, I get things shipped in that I use for my channel. So anyway, so those are some of the costs. So that comes out to 112. So that's my total cost. So basically $1,600 a month. That's an average. Some months more, some months less. I don't count. I'm not putting all my expenses when I travel on there. So those will go up. Like I said, that 300 cash will go up. That 135 bank card number will go up because it's just when you're doing traveling, you're spending more like a tourist rather than somebody that lives there. So those numbers will increase the cash and the card expense. So anyway, so hope that helps you guys. Let's see. Let's get back in the chat. Where did I leave off? Let's see. Here we go. Should use an eSIM or VPN app on your phone to change location, grab pricing from local. Yeah, and you could use that. I have VPN too, which I have ExpressVPN, but it was an annual, so that came out back in November, I think it was. So when my annual is up, I think I'm going to change VPNs. ExpressVPN's okay, but I think I can get something a little better. So I'll look into that. But yeah, definitely. You can check that out and see if you get a little better deal. You can do that with flights too. Change your location for your flights and see if you get better deals. I'm in US now, so give me some time, like a year. Okay. I'll wait. Okay. I use VPN, but there are other ways they can find out you are not local, like your credit card address. Oh, yeah. So if you use cash for the, if you pay in cash, maybe that would be one way to get around that. I see another foreign YouTuber in the Philippines are on the run. What is wrong with these people? Who's that? So I hear that on a daily basis. It seems like somebody somebody's doing something stupid. So do you give me names? I want names. Gary, thanks for coming in. Did you get a military discount on your T-Mobile international plan? I checked it and can't find one for less than $60. If you do, it's $60, but if you do an automatic payment, when they take it automatically out, they'll reduce it down to 55. So that's what I did. So it was 60 and now it's 55 because they automatically take it out of my bank account. Nunchucks are legal to own in Thailand. Take lessons so that you can be ready for snatchers, punks. Right? I would probably knock myself out if I tried to use nunchucks. It would take me a while to learn. I should learn Muay Thai, but I would probably snap a bone or something if first time I try to hit somebody. Can you say what company of travel medical you use? So I use so there's a couple of sites. A lot of people use Safety Wing. I use Seven Corners, and just what you do is you just type in your information, and it'll give you a list of options as far as insurers that that you can use, and you can just go through and find the one that suits you the best. So Seven Corners, and you just spell it out, seven and corners.com, and or you can use Safety Wing too, and just find the one that suits you best. Age should never be a barrier to investing, opportunities everywhere. Yeah, so that 150 is like play money. It's like extra after all my expenses are paid, and I put everything else into my savings or my emergency fund. That 150 is like, that's like play money. It's like going to the casino. You know, I always I don't hardly ever gamble, but it's like, oh, the casino. So let's go to the casino, and here's $150, and that's my money. Once I lose that, then I'm leaving. So you're not going to spend more than that 150, and that's kind of how I look at it. So yeah. Q Advent. Oh yeah. So that guy, and I usually don't talk about other YouTubers, but yeah, he was kind of sus from the first time I started watching, saw some of his videos, and how he was really focusing on underage girls. And, I don't want to get into all of that, but yeah, it was kind of sus. And the people that vouched for him and that sort of thing, you just kind of wonder. But one time Rike fought off 3 robbers using nunchucks when he was talking a shortcut through it. Yeah, I don't know about that. Have you seen Rike's video where he's doing the Muay Thai boxing? Yeah, I can't imagine him fighting off 3 robbers. But stranger things have happened. But anyway, all right, we're caught up with chat. So what else you guys want to talk about? So we talked about my budget. Now, I will say that my budget is pretty basic. I don't go to the clubs. Right now, I'm not dating anybody, so those expenses aren't there. So you're going to find that everybody's budget's going to be a little different. You're going to watch videos, YouTubers doing all kinds of different budgets. Like, I can live under $1,000 a month. Yeah, you probably can, but if you're happy, that doesn't mean the next guy's going to be happy with that kind of a budget. I like eating street food. I'll eat street food, 3-4 times a week. I don't have a problem with that. But then I'll have that urge to eat that Western food. And so I'll go and to a Western restaurant, but I don't go overboard. Like, sometimes, maybe I'll get the craving for a really good steak. Maybe I'll go, 1 month, and I'll go eat and spend over $100 US on a steak dinner. I might do that once in a while, but that's very rare. Usually I spend that, $20, $25 on a night out, a dinner and drinks. That's just me. Now, if I spent more, if I was with somebody, like if I had a girl and a date, obviously that would be more. But right now, I'm just kind of doing my own thing. So I didn't like the way Q shamed homeless expats. Very nasty. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I only saw one of his videos, and it just seemed a little cringe for me. So I just didn't. I don't watch a lot, especially now that I'm in Thailand. I don't watch a lot of videos out of the Philippines anymore. Um, I watch Rigby. He's a friend of mine. And actually, he's coming. Him and his girlfriend Claire are coming this week to visit, and we're going down to Hua Hin and then up to Chiang Mai. I'll be a third wheel because I don't have a girl, but that's okay. Wouldn't be the first time. But I like watching his videos. He had a really good video um, yesterday posted, and it's gone kind of viral. I think he's up to 23,000 views on it, and it's about the banking issues in the Philippines, how they're locking foreigners out of their bank accounts. So that might be something to watch. But Rigby's Philippine Adventures, I think, is the name of his channel. I don't know if he's on here this morning or not. He can give himself a plug if he wants. But and I watch Geo in the Philippines. I watch his videos. But I generally watch those guys when I was planning on coming to the Philippines. And I watched Evan, Savvy Expat. I watched a lot of his videos, and he's walking around showing off BGC. And I thought, this is such a neat area. And I didn't know anything about BGC before I moved out here. Even when I've been visiting, never even knew about it until I watched his videos. So he's the guy that kind of basically talked me into or convinced me that BGC was where I wanted to live. And so I spent almost 3 years there. It was great. So, but yeah, so now I watch more Thailand, Bangkok videos. I like the guys here, and it's been nice. I've got a small group of friends right now, so we go out maybe once a week. But those guys do a lot of traveling too. So a couple of them, I think they're in the Philippines right now. So that's kind of interesting. We just kind of cross paths. But anyway, so what else? What else? Let's open it up to the chat. We can do a open forum Q&A, whatever you guys want. We'll talk about anything you want. We were talking about Rike. I never really watched his channels either. His channel, he's kind of changed. He was kind of into when he was first on, him and Old Dog, they were like the godfathers of Dumaguete, and it was all about dating young Filipina. But I think he's kind of changed his channel a little bit. Let's see what else we got here. Asian Now channel is up to date on all the crazy foreigners running from the law. Right. I watch him. I think his name is Alex. He's got 2 channels, but basically it's the same thing. So I'm not sure what the purpose of the second channel is, because basically he does news stories. Maybe one of them is just specifically to the Philippines. I don't know for sure. So anyway, yeah, I do watch him. The only thing I don't care about his channel is when he finishes a story, he starts editorializing about it. Like the guy that he's doing the story on is watching his video, and he's like a parent. He's like, just do the story. But I do watch him. I do like to watch his stories. So you're basing your budget on $1,500 to $2,000 a month for the rest of your life, or how do you adjust money wise over your retirement on the long run? No, it's not. That would be impossible to do that, because my income is going to increase every year. So, but inflation is going to change also. So you've got to kind of base it on that. But my budget is the here and the now. Who knows what's going to happen a year from now? Where I'll be, if I'll be, and any of that. So right now, that's my budget. That's the here and now. So If you're planning on looking into coming out and living in Thailand in the near future and Bangkok in the near future, that's kind of what I'm spending. So roughly a $500,000 portfolio. Are you afraid of running out of money? No, no, because my my money doesn't my investments or my savings. I never touch that because I've got an income. I've got an income coming in, and that's what I use, and it's more than what my expenses are. So I'm never worried about that. So looking forward to seeing how you like Hua Hin. It's on my list of places to check out if I end up relocating in Thailand. I've been to Hua Hin a few times. I like it. It's more laid back. It's not. It's a smaller city. It's like 65,000 people, so it's very small, but it's a beach community. It's got a nice beach. It's got some nice restaurants, some nice bars, but it's not Pattaya. It's not that heavy adult entertainment area, and it's not going to be busy. So if you like that busy feeling of Pattaya or downtown Bangkok, you want that kind of energy, you probably won't like Hua Hin. But if you like a laid back, older community, Hua Hin might be a nice place for you to visit. Um, I watch, I'm not sure who that is. He's a Filipino YouTuber. Okay. Has some incredible content on the Philippines, travels quite a bit around the Philippines. Oh, cool. Okay, cool. Gala and I said, okay. All right, cool. Check them out. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing how you like. Oh, we already did that. Sorry. You actually have half a mil. One thing you should do before you ever get into Asia is don't let anybody know your finances. Don't let anybody know how much money you have, how much money you make, um, because then you become a target or could become a target. So, like and subscribe, stay young. Yeah, do hit that like button, guys. I would appreciate that. I don't know how many we're at right now. Probably not very many. Um, I don't know. Let me look here. Hang on a second. Hmm. Sorry about that. Checking my analytics. Hang on just a second. Oops. Used to be a way to check that. Now I can't remember how to do it. Oh well, that's all right. I'm not too worried about it. Yes, Hua Hin is nice. I like it, but it's very laid back. So if you're expecting a smaller version of Pattaya, you're going to be disappointed. Now, I will tell you there is an area called Wonderland, and it's a bar area, and you can get that adult pay for play from the girls that work the bars there. So there is that. Um, the thing I noticed though about Hua Hin is the bar girls are a lot older for the most part. There are some younger ones, but a lot of them are a lot older. So I don't know if you're into that or not, but anyway, I just want to warn you. You should probably keep your finances secret anywhere. Yeah, especially with family. Yeah, especially with family. Everyone just wants to borrow money. Yeah, and the funny thing about the Philippines is when you start dating a Filipina, their family, because you're a foreigner, automatically thinks you're rich. Now, of course, the term rich is relative because you could be a poor, broke ass AFAM on a small Social Security and still be considered rich in the Philippines. So, um, am I making any money on YouTube? Not much, not much anymore. I had a viral video that's got almost 900,000 views. That was about a year ago, and I was making most of my money from that one video. But now it's been about a year, so that's trailed off. I'm not getting the views that I used to on that, so I'm not getting the pay on that anymore. So now I'm not making a lot. I'm basically breaking even with my monthly YouTube expenses. So if that tells you anything. So yeah. I don't do it. I didn't do YouTube to make money or to get rich. I did it because I just wanted to share my experiences because it was such a fun trip being out here in Asia. And I just wanted to share my experiences with you guys, and hopefully it's helped a lot of people or helped some people. But yeah, that's why I do it. I don't do it to get rich, because if this was my sole income, I would be begging on the street right now. I would be homeless. Um, I would be one of those guys that you can live on $150 a month in Asia, because I would be living on 150 a month basically. Yeah. So anyway, let me get some coffee here. Hang on a second. Coffee's getting cold. What other questions can I answer for you guys? Let's see. What are your biggest reasons you're in Thailand right now versus the Philippines? Okay. Yeah, that's good. So let's talk about that. So why I left the Philippines. BGC is kind of I call it a bubble. People get on me because I call it a bubble, but it really is. It's not the real Philippines, so to speak. It is the Philippines, obviously, but it's not the real, genuine Philippines that you think when you go watch these YouTube channels and whatever. But I loved it because I love the convenience. I love the Western amenities. I love the fact that it was safe. I could walk anywhere. I didn't need to own a vehicle. All those things. But at the same time, it got kind of small for me. And all my life, I've been kind of a loner and kind of one of those guys that every 2 or 3 years I get the itch to change my scenery, change my venue. And so that 2 3 years was coming up, and I just felt like I needed a change. And I'd been traveling to Thailand for the last 2.5 years, and I really loved it, and I really loved Bangkok. So that was my destination. I wanted to go there. I've been to Da Nang, Vietnam too. So that was originally when I moved out here in October last year. I was originally planning on spending 3 months at a time in Bangkok and Vietnam, Da Nang, Vietnam, and then just kind of bouncing back and forth. But every time I left Bangkok, I missed it. So right now, I just love it. I love the food. I love the energy of Bangkok. I love the people, and I'm not putting anything down as far as the people in the Philippines. They're awesome as well, but I just love the people. If you've watched my last video, the night market one, I just did I thought I'd do something different. I didn't talk in it. I didn't show my face in it. I just walked around this night market over on Sukhumvit and just showed all the stalls and all the food and all the clothes and all the trinkets and all that they were selling there, and the people were so friendly. Everybody smiled and said hi to me. It was fantastic, and I just wanted to show that in my video. Now, my video hasn't been doing very well, but that's okay. But if you want to watch it, go ahead and watch it, because the neat thing is it just shows how friendly Thai people can be, and how beautiful they are. I mean, oh my God, there are so many good-looking women in this video. It's unbelievable. I can't believe in just a small area how many good-looking women were there. Boy, if I was ready to date, and I'm not, but if I was ready to do any dating at all, I would probably hang out there again. but Thailand's great. The people are great. The women are beautiful. It's not that expensive, and I'm talking Bangkok now specifically. It's not that expensive to live here. Now you can spend as much as you want, but you can get by on a budget like me. And yeah, so I just love everything about it, and the food is fantastic. Food is awesome. No interest in loud nightclubs. A quiet, classic piano or jazz bar is more my speed, or just good restaurants. No interest in bar girls or anything like that. Yeah, you're kind of like me, buddy. I'm the same thing, and that's another thing I like about Bangkok in Thailand is such a great live music scene. Um, there's a bar I like to go to called Saxophone Pub. And if you take Sukhumvit up north to, oh, I knew I'd forget. Anyway, you got to take it up north, and there's a stop up north where that's where Saxophone Pub is, and they have live music every night, and it's usually jazz. But on Sundays, I don't know if it's every Sunday, but I was there on a Sunday, and they were playing country music, and we're talking country, like the Western style country music. And it was really this band was super good. But I just love the live music scene here. So that's another neat thing about it. Yeah, Hua Hin might be a good fit for you. It's small. If you like beach cities or beach towns, it's only like 65,000. Now, if you don't mind, if you're not interested in the beach cities, check out Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai is a really neat area. It's a little bigger. It's about 1.5 million, but it's a little more laid back than Bangkok is. And it's kind of it's got neat little districts where they've got cool little cafes and coffee shops and live music. But it's really nice. And so you might want to check that out too. The latest number is 600 a month. Oh, for YouTubers, how they can live on 600 a month. Is that what you're saying? Thanks for the tip on Seven Corners. Are you on Medicare yet? I got the regular. I didn't get the Part B. I didn't sign up for that. I just got the free one because from what I understand, you can't use it here anyway. So I just might as well get regular insurance. Now, maybe I'm way off on that. Maybe I'm making a mistake. I don't know. That's just, I feel I've been here 3 years and I've never used it. Or would never use it. So why pay for something, Is Da Nang a lot cheaper than Bangkok? Yeah, Da Nang is super cheap. Vietnam is super cheap. Of all the countries I've been to, Da Nang is the cheapest, or Vietnam is the cheapest. And Da Nang is beautiful. I love the beach. It's a neat area. Got neat little neighborhoods. So yeah, if you're looking to check things out, check that out. You'll find something super cheap there. The late, great Mike Kaysen from My Philippine Journey channel was the first vlogger I followed in the Philippines. My Philippine Journey. Mike. I know. What do you mean late, great? He's still alive, right? Mike and Arlen, My Philippine Journey. He's not gone, is he? I hope not. I just watched a video the other day of his. So I never knew what his last name was. Chiang Mai is also on my short list. Yeah, Chiang Mai is awesome. I've been there once before, and I'm going again next month or this month. And I'm really excited. Actually, I'm going to. My main purpose to go up there is there's a couple of there's two brothers that live there that are YouTubers. And their channel is dedicated to helping YouTubers be successful. So I want to go up there and meet them and hopefully pick their brain a little bit without having to pay a consult fee. Maybe they'll give me a little freebies. For me, the Philippines is only good if I rent a motorbike and go to some jungle to see a waterfall or hot spring. The cities suck. Pollution, filth, congestion is terrible in the Philippines towns. You know, to be honest, um, you're going to get that in most major cities in Southeast Asia. I mean, Bangkok's got their share of pollution on certain times of the year. Um, there are dirty areas. I'm not a big fan of. I'm not big into hiking and going to waterfalls and climbing up mountains or anything like that. Um, I like to view it from afar, like sitting on a beach and saying, "Oh, look at the mountain up there." But I'm not big into the hiking and the getting out into nature. I will do that on occasion, but I don't plan my trips around those things. So, but yeah, if you want to get out there, yeah, you'll have to get a motorbike. It's definitely something you'll need um, to get around. Have you been to Siem Reap in Cambodia? Not yet, but I'm going at the end of July. The end of July, I'm flying into Phnom Penh and then spending some time there and then making that trip, I think, down. I think it's south to Siem Reap, checking out Angkor Wat. So that'll be my first time in Cambodia, but I'm doing that at the end of July, first part of August. So, yeah. Does Chiang Mai have the Philippines congestion? No, it's the traffic's not as bad in Chiang Mai. Even though it's 1.5 million people population, it's kind of like Da Nang, same size, um, but the traffic's not horrible. You can get around pretty easily. So I wouldn't feel bad about renting a motorbike when I go there just to get around. It's not that bad. It's not like Bangkok, or it's not like Metro Manila. No, those are crazy. I would never drive in Metro Manila or Bangkok. I would be I would be so afraid. Krabi is nice, more expensive than Phuket nowadays, though. It's really a place for couples. Yeah, I've heard Krabi is nice. Um, I've not been to Phuket. I've got a friend um, that his brother owns a bar in Phuket. So eventually I'll get there and see his brother's bar, but I've not been to Phuket or Krabi. So put that on my short list, on my wish list. So the only places I've been to in Thailand are Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Hua Hin, and Pattaya. And by far, Bangkok's my favorite. I would say Chiang Mai is second. Um, Hua Hin and Pattaya, it just depends what you're in the mood for. The nice thing about Pattaya is the sun sets over the ocean, so it's a neat sunset. Hua Hin is on the other side of the bay, so it rises over the ocean. So you've got that. Da Nang's the same way. The sun rises over the ocean in Da Nang. Da Nang is developing fast. I was there a few weeks ago, and there was a lot of construction. Yeah. Vietnam as a whole is starting to take some travelers and expats away from Thailand. Yeah, I agree with that, Phil. Yeah, when I was there, my apartment was in the An Thuong area. Sounds like I'm lisping. I sound like Daffy Duck. The An Thuong area, and I was on An Thuong 3, and I had a nice little apartment on the second floor above the spa, and there was probably, I would say, and those so they call them sois in Thailand, or alleys. Those streets are only about 2 or 3 blocks long each. And so my street, 2 or 3 blocks long, there was probably 6 or 7 buildings that were being worked on, under construction, or tore down completely and being rebuilt. And it was like that throughout Da Nang. There's so much. That was the only drawback with Da Nang, is like there's so much construction going on right now, and the streets were kind of dirty with messed up like sand and concrete laying out in the street, so it was kind of hard to walk around in certain places. That was my only drawback. But boy, if they ever get to a point where they're finished with all that, it's going to be beautiful, I think. But you're right. Um, that was kind of a hidden gem. Danang was kind of a hidden gem before. Now people are starting to realize it exists, and more people are there. When I was there, it was inundated with Russians visiting there, and there were a ton of them. So it's just going to get more congested, I think. I love hiking. Doing the Pacific Crest Trail is on my bucket list. Chiang Mai has some good day excursions. Yeah, there's one. I will do some hiking in Chiang Mai. Um, from what I understand, there is a trail that leads up to the foot of the Himalayas that starts right outside of Chiang Mai. So I definitely want to check that out, because that would be kind of a neat thing to say, hey, I made it to the foot of the Himalayas. So well, I'm going to check that out for sure. I guess we are different. I much prefer the actual jungle versus the concrete jungle. Yeah. You know, I lived on the farm growing up, but I kind of got over it. And now I've become a city boy, I guess. So, oh well. Do they ask for international driver's license with the motorcycle endorsement when renting a scooter in Thailand? I have heard it's difficult for Americans driving legally in Vietnam. Hang on, I got an itch in my nose. Yeah, I think you can use the international driver's license in Thailand. I haven't really looked deep into it because I haven't had the need to do that. In the Philippines, you can use your home country license for the first 90 days. I'm not sure what the situation is in Vietnam. So if anybody on chat knows what the answer is to Mark's question, feel free to jump in, because I'd love to know too. Because if I go to Chiang Mai and I want to rent a vehicle, you know, the bike rental places, they'll rent to anybody. They don't care what your license situation is. They just want that money. It's the law, it's the police or the local authorities that will pull you over if you're, you know, if they think you're not following the law. And if you don't have the right documents, then that could be a problem. So, were you nervous the first time you moved to Southeast Asia? Okay, so I'm going to do a video on this. I've been talking about this for a while, why I moved to Southeast Asia and why I moved to the Philippines and why I left. But I started traveling to the Philippines in 2015, December 2015. So it's close to 10 years now. That was the first time I ever traveled out of the country. So I had a long distance girlfriend at the time. She was an OFW, overseas foreign worker, working in Hong Kong. And we've been talking for a few months. And I decided that I was going to come here and visit her in the Philippines. She was Filipina, and she had a vacation during Christmas break. She was going to go back and see her kids. She had 2 kids. And so this was probably summer of 2015. So I went to the post office and got my picture taken and ordered my passport and paid for everything. And then in October of 2015, I got my passport. So I told her, it's like, hey, I got my passport. And I was super excited. And that was the first time I got a passport. So I booked a flight in December and flew to the Philippines. And it was a horrible flight because first of all, it was super expensive because it was right during Christmas time and it was a short notice. It was like the end of October. So it was only like a 2 month out. And so I found this flight that was like $2,800 round trip. And it was coach, but it was like flying out of, it was flying United. And I flew out of Chicago, and I think I had to stop in San Francisco, and then I had to stop in Honolulu, and then I flew from Honolulu to I can't remember if I flew directly from there to the Philippines or if I had to stop in like Guam. Um, I I can't remember what it was, but it was a horrible flight. The long flight was horrible, like 11 hours, because the charger in my seat didn't work, so my phone died. Um, and it was just not a good experience. But it was neat going to Honolulu because I've never been to Honolulu. So I had the overnight stay in Honolulu. So I took a bus from Honolulu up to Waikiki Beach, and I spent a few hours hanging around Waikiki Beach. And then I flew out of Honolulu and then flew to the Philippines, I think it was. So, but I got into Manila, and I wasn't really nervous. Um, it was it wasn't really that. And then when I actually moved here in 2022, I wasn't really nervous either because I watched a lot of YouTubers and got all the information on what I needed, shots or whatever, what I should expect, scams. I got all the info on don't fall for the scams when I moved here. So I wasn't really nervous, and I'm like I said, I'm one of those guys that move around a lot. So moving to a new location, it didn't feel any different than moving from one state to another. And I've lived in 8 different states in the US in my adult lifetime. So I'm used to that. And so it didn't really feel any different. And being in BGC, in Metro Manila, it didn't feel like really I was out of the country, out of the US, other than that I look different than most people. I mean, there are a lot of foreigners, Westerners around, but the majority of them were Asian. Um, so that was the only difference. So, you kind of feel like you're a minority, but that didn't really bother me. So I guess just to, in short, I wasn't super nervous about things. Um, I got a little frustrated, got a little stressed out trying to find a place. And I'm going to do a video on this too about some of the three major scams that happened to me when I came to the Philippines. I mean, they were major. We're talking large dollar scams that happened to me, not the small, skin tax stuff. We're talking big dollar, or at least big dollar for me. So we'll talk about that. I heard road cycling is big in Chiang Mai. I do that. So I think I might like that place. Cool. Yeah. It's kind of a college town feel to it. The coffee shops and the cafes are really neat. I'll be staying in the Nimman district, which is kind of, I think Chiang Mai University is close to that. So there's a lot of really neat coffee shops, a lot of neat cafes, a lot of cool bars in that area, live music. So that'll be cool. But yeah, you should check that out. Nha Trang is full of Russians too, but it's a fabulous looking city. I've heard Nha Trang is really nice. We're talking Vietnam. I've heard really good things about that. Dalat too. I've heard Dalat is really nice too. So I want to check those out next time I get to Vietnam. Yeah, in Vietnam, they refused renting me a bike because I didn't have an international license. Oh, interesting. Yeah. And I know in the Philippines, they don't care what your license situation is. And I don't know about Thailand. Taking my first trip to Thailand at the end of the year, doing a tour from Phuket Island, hopping over to Krabi and Koh Samui. I'll let you know how it is if you haven't been there yet. Yeah, definitely, Admiral Crunch. Let me know at by the end of the year. I probably won't have visited all of those places. Maybe one. I might try to get a trip down to Phuket, just a weekend thing, because it's not that big a deal to travel from here to there. So, but I'm going to be spending a lot of money in the next couple of months, traveling here in Thailand and then Cambodia and then possibly back to Vietnam. So it might end up being kind of expensive. So I may have to save some money. There was only one time I had to take money out of my savings, and that was when I left Vietnam in March of this year and went to the Philippines to renew my passport. because I had to spend extra money on a condo rental in BGC, and I paid up front. I paid 3 months up front, so that was a pretty big chunk of money. So I took it out of my savings, but I was able to get it back in this month. So I'm back to even. I try not to use any of my savings. That's emergency funds. So anyway, yeah, let me know. And if you get to Bangkok, or if our paths cross, let me know, and we can definitely do a meetup somewhere and have a coffee or a beer or whatever your choice is. Um, so when I was talking about my being nervous coming to the Philippines, there's always that little thought in the back of your head is, what if something goes wrong? But I was working at the time, so I was making really good money, and I had a really good moving package that my company gave me. So I had a ton of money that was available to me to afford the move. So that made things a little easier. The thing that was more frustrating than anything was, excuse me, was when I was looking for a condo to rent. When I first moved to BGC, I was staying in an Airbnb, and I stayed at a couple of different ones. And then I was looking at condos, and we're talking March and April of 2022. And boy, it seemed like every time I'd schedule a condo, I'm looking on the map, a condo view. I'd look at the map, and it's like, oh, I could walk there. So I'd start walking, and then it'd start pouring rain every time. And I'd duck into, I went into all these stores looking for umbrellas, and nobody had any umbrellas. Sorry, sir, unavailable. That was my first experience of the famous line in the Philippines: sorry, sir, unavailable. And nobody had umbrellas. I don't know if it was because it was rainy season and they just sold out, or they weren't prepared, or what. I mean, I went into every 7-Eleven. I went into malls and retail stores. Nobody had umbrellas. So everywhere I went, I'd get soaked, and it's like, so I started using Grab, and it was back then. I don't know if maybe it's a little simpler now, but back then, getting a Grab was really difficult. I mean, it didn't seem like they had a lot of drivers available. And so I would sit there for 15 minutes and looking for a driver, and then it would cancel on me. Like 10 minutes in, and cancel on me. So I'd order again, and then look for a driver, and then it'd cancel on me. And I don't know how many times that happened. So it's almost, and then trying to find a taxi in BGC Metro Manila. That's another nightmare. So that was my biggest frustration, trying to find a place to live. Just going to view those condos. But that seems like centuries ago. It seems like such a long time ago, but it was an experience, that's for sure. And I didn't know anybody there, so I went there without knowing anyone. So you just kind of but I was used to that, being in the States, moving to different states. I was used to moving to a place and not knowing anybody. So that didn't really bother me, because I was always kind of a loner anyway. So those things didn't really bother me that much. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. That was probably the biggest frustration, or being nervous, is just trying to find a place to live when I first got there. Just the frustrations of the viewings, not actually moving there. Because I had, like I said, I was staying at the Avant, which is right over there by Forbstown. If you're familiar with BGC at all, Forbstown's a neat little neighborhood. It's got lots of nice restaurants and bars. But I was staying at the Avant, really nice place. And I can't remember how much luggage I took. I don't think I took that much. I think I took one big suitcase, check-in, and then a backpack. I think that's all I took with me. So I was able to get to the Philippines on little or nothing here as far as what I brought from the US. Everything else I put in storage back in the US. So, but let's see what else. Go back to the chat. Now, Trang has way more Russians than denying. Really? Well, I thought when I was there, December, January, February, there seemed to be a lot of Russians, but and a lot of Brits and Australians there too. Not so much U.S. International drivers. Is that what IDP, International Driving Permit, is technically accepted in Thailand? I imagine that's Thailand. TL, Thailand. TH is Thailand. But I have heard more than one person recommend against driving with one, as some less reputable cops won't accept it and will fine you for driving on it. I heard a few weeks ago they were cracking down on foreigners driving in Pattaya, basically without a helmet, and so they were pulling them over with regularity and finding them right there. So I don't know what the truth is to that or not. So yeah, well, that was expensive for a coach. Round trip though, it was round trip. But yeah, but I learned my lesson after that first trip in 2015. One, don't do a trip during high season over Christmas and New Year's because you're going to pay more. Two, book your flight out farther. So my flights from then on were further out. Like I would book in for June or May back in November the year before, and I would get back then I was finding flights that were $500 round trip, and I stopped using domestic flights. I stopped using domestic airlines. Excuse me, like United. I started using the foreign airlines. Like I was using EVA. I was using JAL, Japan Airlines, ANA, China Eastern. I think I used once, but I was getting super cheap flights because I booked at during the seasons that aren't as touristy, like May and June when it was hot. And then I booked farther out, and I would look at flights that had layovers. So I'd find flights that had like a day layover in Taipei or Honolulu or Singapore or things like that. So it's like, oh, that's cool. I'll do that, and I'll just check out that city or while I'm there and mark that off my bucket list. It's like, oh, I've been there now. I checked it out for a day. So that was cheaper. That was the cheap way to go. Chiang Mai is beautiful, but basically unlivable 3 months out of the year. Yeah, the air pollution is hazardous during the burning season. Yeah, so the burning season usually starts at the end of January and goes into March, or beginning of January into March. And yeah, it can be bad. In fact, in January here, there was a week where it was so bad that they made the train rides, the BTS and MRT, free for a whole week. So people would use that rather than driving their cars to try to reduce the pollution. That's how bad it got. But yeah, Chiang Mai and up north, they burn their crops every year, and that smoke just hangs in the air, and it can travel as far south as like Pattaya. So it can get really bad here too in Bangkok. Not as bad as in Chiang Mai, but it can get bad about 3 months out of the year. So if you're going to live in Chiang Mai, like Phil says, live in Chiang Mai, but those 3 months you might want to get, plan your vacations somewhere else in those 3 months. So if I moved to Chiang Mai, I would do some traveling elsewhere during the burning season. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, me too. Nha Trang has more Russians than Vietnamese. Wow. Trust me. They have direct flights from Russia. If you are white, they will assume you are Russian and talk to you in Russian. I speak Russian, so no problem. Wow, crazy. I had no idea. Um, Hua Hin's got quite a few Russians. In fact, they've got a lot of Russians own businesses there in Hua Hin, bars and restaurants. Um, so it seems like, especially since the war with Ukraine, more and more Russians are coming here than probably anywhere else in the world, coming to Southeast Asia. Let's see. Being 6'3", coach, is very uncomfortable for me. My knees get cramped on a 12-hour flight. Yeah, I'm 6'1", almost 6'1", so I know what you mean. Um, and I'm 200 pounds, so some of those flights can be very uncomfortable, but I'm a cheap ass, so I go the cheap route. The Midwest USA is getting forest fire smoke from Canada. Really? Right now? Wow, that's crazy. Lots of things happen. It's been almost 2 years since I've been back to the US. So I need to get back, but I don't know if it'll be this year or not. Maybe next spring. We'll see. What else do you want to talk about, guys? See, my plan today is, when I'm done here, I need to go eat. I didn't have breakfast, so I'll go to the little restaurant, the local mom and pop restaurant that's right around the corner from me. I think it's owned by a family. The dad's the cook. The mom is she waits tables and takes your money, and then the daughter and the son, they serve. They're the servers. They serve you and then clean up your mess. But they're super sweet, and the food's super good and really cheap. 65 baht for a full meal. So that's like, $1.70, $1.50, something like that. So super cheap. So I'll go have lunch there, and then I'll probably do some video or editing later today. And then for dinner, I'll probably just go outside and get street food outside. There's a husband and wife that fry chicken right outside, and it's really cheap, 20 baht for a piece of chicken. So I'll get 2 or 3 pieces of chicken and have that for my dinner. So that'll be 60, 70 baht, something like that, which is, $2, under $2. So you can't beat it. It's so cheap. But that'll be my day. I went down Sukhumvit last night, and I had dinner and a few drinks, like I said, and so I won't do that again tonight. It's Sunday. I do want to go see some live music, so I don't know if it'll be tonight or sometime this week. We'll see. Look as any business name in Nha Trang, and you will see many in Russian. Even some locals speak Russian. Wow, it's crazy. Where was I? Oh, there's some places in Philippines where the language is also in Korean. So that's because there's so many Korean. I think in Angeles City, there's so many Koreans there that the language is also in Korean. So I thought that was kind of crazy. Look on Google Maps. Google Maps for what am I looking for? Things spelled in Russian, or what am I looking for on Google Maps? Edwin, can you get Red Horse over there? No, you can't get Red Horse in Thailand. You can get San Meg Light. You can get that because you can't get light beer from the local breweries here. So hang on a second. Got a cough. So like Singha, you can't get Singha Light. You can't get Tiger Light. You can't get Leo Light. They don't have that available here, but you can get San Mig Light here. And they actually have a brewery, a San Mig brewery in Thailand. So I see a lot of expats drinking San Mig Light here, a lot. For me, it's like I spent so much time in Philippines, and drinking San Mig Light all the time because you can't really get anything else there. So once I got to Thailand, it's like I'm doing Thai beer, and I like Singha, and I like Leo, and I like Tiger, and so I'll just drink that. So yeah, I know it's more calories, and I'll get a beer gut, but that's okay. Do you find electronics to be more expensive there than the U.S.? I've heard that. Um, in the Philippines, I think so. I don't know. I haven't really done any shopping here. Now I can go to MBK Mall, which is a discount mall. Um, I can go there and find used electronics there or knockoffs that are fairly cheap. But I don't know about the new stuff. I really haven't done any pricing because I haven't had the need because I've got a brand new computer here. I've got my laptop. I got a um, DSLR camera that I use for my streams. Um, I'll need a phone eventually, and I need to find a new camera for when I go out vlogging, and whether it's a DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which is so expensive, or just another cell phone or something. I need something different. So I'll do some pricing here in the future. Phil, I go back to the US once a year to see my family for a couple of weeks. I ended up dropping like 5,000 US during that time. It's insane how expensive everything is back there. Yeah, that's the only reason I'm thinking about keeping my car, at least for the meantime, um, because I can get in my car and drive anywhere, and it's so much cheaper than renting now. Um, Car rentals are just crazy expensive. Um, it's like, man, you can almost buy another car for the cost of renting one now. So, yeah, I can't imagine how expensive it's going to be when I go back there. Look at any restaurant business in Nha Trang on Google Maps, and their menu will be in Russian. Oh, okay, okay, interesting. Wow, that's interesting. So, but you're in luck because you can speak Russian. You can read. I assume you can read Russian too. So let's see. We've been on almost 2 hours, so we'll go another 4 minutes, unless there's other questions or comments on the chat. Um, then we'll call it a day. Um, let's see. I have noticed that washing machines, air conditioners, and refrigerators are much cheaper here. Some other items are the same or even more expensive than the US. Yeah. So the nice thing about renting in Southeast Asia is everything is furnished. There is the Philippines. You run into some condos that aren't furnished that are for rent, but for the most part, everything here in Thailand, Vietnam, you can get a rental and it's completely fully furnished, including washing machine, refrigerator, air cons, obviously. So that's an expense you don't really have to worry about. Um, some of the other items, though, yeah, I've heard that some of the electronic items are more expensive um, because of the the tariffs or the import taxes. That so if I were to order something on Amazon and they ship it here, I get an import fee that's on that Amazon item. Now it's less here than it is in the Philippines. In the Philippines, it's super high. Um, and to be honest, it was more here until recently. Now it seems like it's not as high as it has been, say like a year ago. So I don't know why that is. I don't know whether this tariff war is affecting that or not. I don't know, but yeah. So you do get those import fees and those tariff taxes that are charged when you import something. Do you keep paying insurance when you keep your vehicle in the U.S.? Yeah, yeah. Um, I'll pay my insurance. It's just the basic. That way, it's covered in case something happens. Dublin has gone ridiculously expensive. Dublin, And I want to go there. I want to go to Ireland. But yeah, if it's so expensive, I don't know if I can afford it. But that's always been on my bucket list to go to Ireland. But probably not this year, maybe next. We'll see. I'd like to get there for St. Patrick's Day or something. But I'll be here for St. Patrick's Day if not there. And there's a lot of Irish pubs in Bangkok. So I'm looking forward to that. I was in the Philippines in BGC for St. Patrick's Day this year, and it was bad. There's nothing there. Nobody celebrates St. Patrick's Day there. If you like blues music and other American rock and pop, check out the Fishbone just behind W District Food Court. Lots of talented musicians and friendly Filipinos working there. I like the W District. I really do. That's a neat area, and I will check out Fishbone because I do like blues, and that's why I like going to Saxophone Pub because they got blues and jazz there too, and country. But I will check that out. Thanks for the heads up. That's not far from where I'm at. That's like at the Procanon, between Procanon and Anute, I believe, is where the W District is. W District is like an outdoor food/bar area right off Sukhumvit Road. And they got some really good restaurants, some nice outdoor bars. You can sit outside and enjoy your drinks. And like Kevin says, they've got the Fishbone. So I will check that out for sure. And that will be fun. I may go tonight. I don't know. Do they have live music on Sunday night? Do you know, Kevin, for sure? Let me know because that may be something I'll check because that's really close by. I can check that out. How do you keep track of all the currency changes you go through when you go from country to country? Here's what I do. I've got an app on my phone, and it's called All Currency Converter, and I just downloaded it out of my Play Store. I don't have an iPhone. I've got an Android. So I just downloaded it out of the Play Store. It's called All Currency Converter. And it's ad free. So I don't have to worry about looking at ads or paying extra. And it's pretty accurate and it updates all the time. So I use that. But like when I convert money, when I go to another country and I convert money, I don't convert it at the airports. You're not going to get as good a deal at the airports as you will elsewhere. So here's the thing I learned about when I came to Thailand. The first time I came to Thailand, they told me that bank exchange, they're all the same because they're set by the government. So the exchange rate at banks are all the same. It's those when you go out and you find those little kiosks doing the exchanges, they're competing against each other. So there's where you're going to find the better deals. So you just have to kind of look around and find the best rate. And that's what I would do. So when you fly into Bangkok, I would exchange just enough money to get you where you need to be. If you're paying for a grab with cash, or if you need money for something to eat before you are able to exchange your cash. So if you're coming in late and the exchange places are all closed outside the airport, then you may need to get a little bit of cash and get it at the airport. Now, if you're in Suvarnabhumi, which is the new airport, if you go downstairs, down to the lower level, there's the currency exchange places are cheaper, are a better rate. I'm sorry, are a better rate than the ones on the main level. So there's a little hack for you. But I would just get enough to get you where you need to be until you can find one of these kiosk places that give you a better deal. That's what I do. So I had a friend that we came to Bangkok. And I told him, I go, don't exchange all your money at the bank at the exchange places at the airport. Wait till we get to Sukhumvit. And he exchanged all his money at the airport, and he got, I can't remember what the rate was at that time, but he paid like 32 point something, and my exchange rate was 34 when I got to town. So I got a lot better deal than he did. So Bangkok sounds good for a St. Patrick's Day celebration. Yeah, there's so many Irish pubs. So I go to O'Shea's on a regular basis. That's the one at 33/1 on Sukhumvit Road in Phrom Phong. But if you go down to a Soak area, if you're on Sukhumvit 23, which is like the beginning of Soy Cowboy, and right across the street from Soy Cowboy, there's a place called Scruffy Murphy's Irish pub, and that is a great Irish pub. They've got good music there. They've got really good Irish food. That would be my go-to place, but there's tons of them. You can't go wrong with Irish pubs in Bangkok. Do you do any long-term investing? And I'm not talking about crypto crap. Crypto crap. No, not really. I mean, well, most of the investing I do is really um, conservative, like almost like a money market. So it's almost like you're putting money into a savings account that gets you, 1% interest or something like that. So it's very safe. I just like to, do. Now I have friends that do more day trading, and I want to kind of learn that a little bit, and I want to get into that a little bit and kind of spend some, fun money doing that. But we'll see. I'm always nervous about those things. Fishbone has live music every night and happy hour every night until 8 p.m. Good to know. All right. Now I got my plan for the day. How do you renew your U.S. driver's license while you're out of the country? Well, I haven't had to yet, Diane, but thanks for dropping in. Right now, I've still got my license from when I lived in Tennessee because it's good until like 2028. It was like a 10-year license. So I've got until 2028 to renew. So I'm not sure how to do it without actually going there. That's a good question, and I don't have an answer to that. So I always tell you, it's like if I know the answer, I'll tell you. But if I don't, I'm not going to say something I don't know. So day trading is very risky. Yeah, I've heard. But if you got some funny money, some fun money just to blow, it's like playing the slot machine, in Vegas. It's like, oh, I got this $100 I can blow. If I lose it, that's okay because that's basically my entertainment for the night. So that's how I would look at day trading. I wouldn't look at it for getting rich or making $1 million or anything like that. Don't waste your time on day trading. It's a loser's game. Yeah, kind of like Vegas. Yeah. They don't open up these casinos to lose money. They're there to make money. So the majority of the people that go there lose their money. Yeah, I'm happy where I'm at. So anyway, let's see what else going on in your guys' life. It's after 2 hours. So if you don't have any other questions, we'll go a couple more minutes. And I got my day planned now. Thanks to Kevin. So I'll have my local lunch at the family restaurant over by Big C. I'll have my chicken dinner from the vendor outside, or I may go. So Kevin, do they serve food at Fishbone? That would be the next question. Let's see what else. Let's go down these chats here. I invested in Palantir in 2022, doing very well now, considering selling it off. Yeah, I wish I had a time machine. I would go back and invest in some of these things that are doing really well right now. What methods do you use to rent a condo? So like I mentioned earlier, I usually go on a couple of different sites. DD. I use DD Properties. Here, let me bring it up here. Oops. ddproperty.com. And then I go into Thailand or Bangkok or wherever I'm at. That's the main one I use. But I've also used dot property, and I've used that for Vietnam. Rent Hub's another one I've used. But you can use pretty much any of those. Like I said, I've used Facebook Marketplace before, and that you just kind of got to be careful. Um, but yeah, and everything's negotiable. So if you don't like the cost of a rental place, you can try to negotiate. Worst they can do is say no, and then you can either take their price if you really like the place, or you can walk away and go to the next one. There's never a shortage of condos for rent, that's for sure. My regular savings account is 4%. I use Barclays. Very good. Yeah, 4% is good. I've got 3% cash back on my cards. That's the best rate I've got. Let's see. So, Kevin, you got to tell me, man, do they serve food at Fishbone? Because I may eat dinner there during the happy hour. What time do they start playing music too? That's another thing I'd like to know. I would hope they would start playing before the happy hour is over at 8. Otherwise, I'm paying premium for drinks while I'm listening to the music. So, but let me know, Kevin. Don't keep me hanging. We'll go a couple more minutes. Just gonna wait for Kevin to give me an answer on Fishbone, and if not, I'll just go and find out on my own and report back to you guys. Maybe I'll do a video from Fishbone tonight. I might do that. We'll see. Anyway, let's start wrapping things up, guys. It's been fun. It's been real. Enjoyed it. I'm kind of under the weather. My stomach hasn't been feeling really good this morning, but those things usually go away. Part of the problem is I haven't eaten today, so I haven't eaten since yesterday evening, about 5. So it's been a while. It's kind of yeah, I need to eat. That's after 11. So yeah, it is lunchtime. So yeah, I'll go eat and then check out Fishbone tonight, and maybe I'll do a video for you guys to check it out too, so you can live vicariously through me. Any good debit cards you recommend for travel? I just have my bank card. I bank at Fifth Third Bank, which is a regional bank out of Indianapolis, is where my local location is. But yeah, I don't know about debit cards. I've got Wise. I've got a Wise card. I love using Wise. I use Wise to pay all my rent and utilities. So never had a problem with that. Fishbone serves some bar food: pizza, fries, burgers, pot stickers. Good, perfect. Looks like I'm eating there at Fishbone tonight. Music starts after happy hour, unfortunately. Well, that's okay. I'll go there at 7, have a dinner, and order a couple of happy hour drinks and enjoy my food, or enjoy my drinks while I'm listening to good music. They have the standard bar food: burgers, pizza, etc. Okay, great. Sounds like you guys have all been there, but not me. So this will be my first time there. Awesome. Charles Schwab. Yeah, so I tried to do the Charles Schwab thing before I moved out here, and I got okayed, and then it got canceled for some reason. I don't know why. So it was weird. Looking into a MasterCard Swirl card. Okay, cool. They refund ATM fees. Charles Schwab, yeah. Some banks do too. So you just got to check what your local bank will do, and a lot of times, if your bank, if the current banking plan you have doesn't do the ATM fee refund, check with your bank, because they may have a different plan that does. So I would definitely check that before you change banks completely or do something else. But Gary, thanks, guys. Thanks, Gary. Hey, thank you, chat. It's been fun. We're going to call it at 2 hours and 14 minutes. So You guys have a great day. And like I said, it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. And as always, live life. Take care.